Hello, I'm Dan Ware. Welcome to Frankly Franklin. Over the years that I've been doing this program, some of the most popular shows that we have done have been interviews with people who have lived on into their 90s. And if I'm not mistaken, my guest today falls into that category. I'm pleased to welcome to the program Nell Hendricks. She and I became acquainted a couple of years ago when we were both doing some physical therapy, and she was getting around better than I was at the time, and I think she may still be. And she was well enough to come out and join me on a rather cold day right after some snow. So, Miss Hendricks, thank you for agreeing to come and let me interview you. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Nell is accompanied today by her niece, Commie Hall of Franklin, who put in some work down at the archives, and she's now come with her aunt and brought some of the examples of some of the craft things that she does, which we're going to talk about in a few moments. But first, I would like to reminisce with Mrs. Hendricks a little bit about her life. And, you know, I've been told it's impolite to ask a lady her age, but in your case, I'm hoping you won't get mad. Will you tell me how old you are?
94.
94 years old.
Born June the 5th, 1909, in Muhlenberg County.
Well, 94, that's getting up there a ways, if you don't mind me saying so.
That's right.
What, you have any secrets for a long life?
Well, I think being interested in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 5, we moved from Simpson County to Rochester over in Butler County.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother, my mother's mother, was knitting socks for Grandpa. He was a Civil War veteran, retired, and she was knitting the socks. And I wanted to help her knit. And she said I couldn't knit Grandpa's socks. I'd have to learn first. So she let me knit a doll sweater.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first. But when I knit the doll sweater, then my sister played with my doll and broke the doll. So I buried the doll and the sweater together. So I don't have that to show.
So you were how old when you knitted your
5.
first? 5 years old.
5 years old. Then I didn't do any more knitting until I was in my 20s. And we had, our family in 26 had moved north to northern Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked in a department store in the grocery department. And I went up to the knitting department to see the books and things on my lunch hour. So I decided to knit a dress. And I bought the yarn, and as the knitting instructor came back from her lunch, when I was there, and she said, "Do you want to start?" I said, "No, I'll start it tonight at home. And my mother and I can do that." "Oh, you've knit before." I said, "I made a doll sweater when I was 5. She said, "You expect to knit this thing now?" I said, "Sure." So I didn't forget. I've been reading the books. So my mother and I started the sweater that night, the dress, and I took it back the next day, and I got transferred from the groceries up to the knitting department.
All right.
To be her helper.
Uh-huh.
And later on, I was transferred to another store
Mm-hmm.
owned by the same company to be the knitting teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first experience in teaching knitting, and it was interesting, and I loved it. And but when the war came on in 41, they did. A lot of people went to work, the women, right
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
But knitting was falling off, and I was laid off for one day. I didn't work Saturday. So I decided,
One day.
if you want me to quit talking.
No, I was just laughing about being laid off for one day. You go right ahead.
Yeah, one day. So I thought I would get a job at an oil refinery during the war. They were going to take women. So I got a job at the Standard Oil of Indiana.
Okay.
And came back and quit my job at the store, and I worked there all through the war. But after the war, I was anxious to do knitting again. So then I really started in earnest in that, knitting for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I knit baby booties at first, and they were sold at a gift shop. And now I knit Christmas stockings, but I sell them myself. because people know I knit, so they come to see the stockings.
Well, I tell you what, let's talk about that a little more, because we've just passed Christmas, and so Commie Joe has brought in some samples of some of these Christmas stockings. Let's look at and actually these Christmas stockings have been immortalized in a painting that there are collector's edition prints of, which Commie Joe's holding there. So tell me a little bit about what's in this print here and how this artist came to have this and make these prints. And this is your stocking that you made here.
That's the stocking that I made. It was ordered by Mrs. Elizabeth Law.
Okay.
This Scott Kennedy, the artist, is her great-nephew. And they had been to Colorado. She came back in the fall and called me, and she had been buying one stocking now and then for a new baby. But she said, do you ever do the stockings for the whole family? I said, yes. She needed 7. So she bought 7 stockings, 3 for the children, the mother and the father, and then the grandparents. And this stocking is the one that the father had. And he was an artist and had been painting sleigh dogs at the resorts out in Colorado and Idaho. And so he put the puppy in the stocking,
right.
Painted it, and he sent me a picture of it. And I just had a little picture and told about it. It was a collector's stocking. So my great-nephew, Russell Coates, was here from Indiana, and he wanted to find the stocking and buy it, the painting, and buy it one for my Christmas, because that was Thanksgiving when he saw it. But he couldn't find it. It took him till the next Christmas to find the stocking, because they were already sold out. And he did finally find it, the stocking, and it was about $200 with the painting and the framing, the gift was. And that's been a few years back since I had that. But it hangs in my living room by the door as you're walking out, between the window and the door. And as people walk out, oh, you made that stocking. I said, yeah, that's my stocking. He owns it, but I still call it mine. And then,
well, he didn't give you the $200, though, did he?
No, he didn't do that, no. And then, but he has been on advertising on computer. Because my great-nephew still lives in Indiana, and he has a computer for his business now. And he saw that advertised on and brought me the copy off of his computer to show that he has see it.
Well, we've looked at the painting. Let's examine the real deal. I see that we've got some Christmas stockings with 2003 on them, so I guess you've just made those this past year, right?
Yes, that's from this year,
now,
this past year.
Okay, so we've got Santa and we've got candy canes.
And I'm sending these two to Texas to my great-nephew. He is in the Navy, and his wife is also in the Navy. So I'm sending her the candy cane stocking with one on it. That was their wedding anniversary.
Okay.
That's what she wanted. But this one, what I have three.
Right.
3 on that. But I have, instead of putting a name, I put ho, ho, ho now on the Santa Claus stocking.
Oh, I see. This other one has a name, yeah.
That has a name.
Right,
Nina.
Well, now, how long does it take about to make each stocking?
Well, it takes all my relaxing hours from the time I get up till I go to bed in one day. And then after they're ordered, I make the name and the cap at the top and sew that on. That takes about 2 hours. And then I press the stockings and put cotton in the foot and paper in the other, because knitting is never supposed to have a crease in it. If you have a sweater, you should pull a tissue paper up through your sweater sleeves so you don't get the crease.
I see, okay.
So, but I always recommend to take the paper out when they hang them up, leave the cotton in because the foot sticks out
Holds
instead of drooping down.
Right, right.
And so that is something interesting.
So you
Casey,
probably got these hanging on mantles just all over the place, don't you?
No, I have.
I don't mean in your house, I mean in other people's houses.
Oh, yeah, I do. They hang them everywhere.
Well, now, are you open for business and taking orders for 2004?
Well, I've already started on that. On Monday after Christmas, a man knocked on the door, and that's unusual for a man to knock on the door. So I went to the door, and he said that he wanted to order 2 stockings. They had their stockings hanging up. They had just gotten them this year. And the people that, their guests, wanted 2 stockings. Would you make them now? I said, well, I have some already made, and I can put the names on. And he wanted 2 candy canes stockings, so I happen to have 2 already made, and I got them ready for Wednesday. And then on New Year's Day, I had a call from a lady who had bought stockings 3 or 4 years ago, and she wanted to come by if I wasn't busy. And I said, no, I'm not busy, just looking at the ball games. And so she came by and ordered 4. And she has bought stockings before when the children were born, but now she is ordering the stockings so she can hang stockings in her house with their name on it. And they will have them in their home.
If somebody sees this program on television and thinks they might like to have one of those, is it all right if they give you a call, or how do they go about getting
Well, they just call me. I'm listed in the telephone directory, and Nell Hendricks. They call first. I like that when they call because sometimes I'm not there.
Right.
Or I have somebody else looking at stockings. So they can just come, call me and come when we can get together. And they order the stockings. In a few days, I have the top made for them. I make the stockings ahead of time.
But now knitting is not your only talent, is it?
Oh, no.
Don't you do some other cross stitch?
It was my first talent.
Okay.
The first thing I did was in knitting was that doll sweater with my grandmother.
Right.
But my grandmother was a real artist too, and she did a lot of knitting, also weaving. Now this is a wall hanging, and the background of the material is hand-woven blanket. They had the sheep on their farm in Butler County at Provo, and they shared the wool,
off from the sheep.
and she and my mother would have to clean that, the burrs and everything out of it.
Is that what they call carding the wool?
Yeah, that's right. And then they carded the wool, and then they had but the cross weaving in this is some warp that they ordered from Sears.
Okay.
And this piece was done in 1900.
Wow.
The background. But I only did this. Then over the years, we had 4 blankets. There were 3 children, and so we had 3 beds and an extra bed. So we used the 4 blankets all of our life at home. And then when I married, and my father died in less than about a year after I married, and my husband wanted to ask my mother to come and live with us. So he invited her to come. Now, my husband at that time, Henry Larson, and he was a South Dakota native, and he was the last born of 7, and he had spent his young life with his mother because his father died. So he wanted my mother to come. So just one time at Homemakers, I think it was in the 70s, we had crewel embroidery lesson, and I decided to make this sampler, it's called, of the different stitches of crewel embroidery. Now, this is what I learned at Homemakers. That is my college, Homemakers.
Okay.
And I treasure this because it involved my mother when she was 20 years old. She and my grandmother wove the blankets. And I've always, I have that hanging on the wall, but I did have a little help with the top. Mr. Jimmy Massey he used to live in Butler County at the same time we lived there.
Jimmy
And he
Cecil, yeah.
went to Mississippi, and the cane was in at the time. And he brought me this cane. It was green. He thought I wanted to chew cane, sugar cane. So I put it, and I had this wondering what to put it on to make a wall hanging.
Right.
So I hung it up, put it up on a metal cabinet as you go up the stairs in the kitchen, and I forgot it, and it dried up.
Okay.
So Betty Gentry was giving me some advice about it, so I run down to the store with the cane, and she said that you got just the right thing to hang it with.
It looks great. Looks great. Yeah.
So it hangs in my hall just off of the living room.
Well, that's very nice.
And I really, that is my pride.
Yeah.
Because my mother and grandmother did the base of it when they, in 1900. That's the oldest thing I have.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice. I know that's a real treasure for you, but you've got some more things to share with us. So what, if Commie Joe's arm doesn't give out, we'll let her know.
Well,
all right, now tell us about...
Well, our homemaker club had a lesson on cross-stitch because it was coming in, everybody was cross-stitching.
Right.
So I decided to cross-stitch. So Mrs. Gentry asked me if I make something small.
Let me hold that, Commie Joe, and maybe that camera shot on me is a little closer.
If I make something small. And I said, well, I could work out a home sweet home in small. The Chamber of Commerce wanted something small and handmade to present the newcomers in Franklin at that time. So I made the cross-stitch homemaker from Learned at Homemakers.
So how long have you been in the Homemakers organization?
Well, more than 50 years.
Wow.
And Miss Sullivan...
Rowena Sullivan.
Rowena Sullivan was here when I arrived, and she greeted me, and my cousin, Grace McElwain, had told me that she was here and had, from Paradise, right close to where I was born.
So we got to be... also in Muhlenberg County?
In Muhlenberg County. And we got to be good friends, and then she asked me several times to demonstrate, or teach, actually. I taught knitting here at the library, and there's some other things that I taught. I can't remember now.
Well, now, do you still get out and go to the Homemaker Club meetings?
Yes, we meet. I'm fortunate. The club that I used to go to, we went to Holmes, Potpourri, but that club went down so small that we joined the Lake Springs Club, and someone suggested that because I was walking with a cane. So we meet at the electric plant board. No steps, no nothing there.
Right.
And we meet there every third Tuesday in the month.
You drive yourself to the meetings?
Drive? Oh, yeah, I drive.
Still do all your own driving?
I do my driving, and anybody asks me about the driving, I say I have a valid license, and it's good until next June. My birthday will be June the 5th.
Well, then you can renew it for another 4 years.
And I have to get it renewed for 4 years.
Right.
And I think I can do that. Because
all right, good for you.
I have good insurance, and so far I've been all right with driving.
You still do all your own cooking?
Well, I did until this fall, but I did have a dizzy ear trouble with my ear. And I was a little dizzy, so when my niece and her son came down, this is my sister's daughter, my sister's deceased, when they heard that I was going to the hospital, they came down and got here at midnight, and they went by the hospital to see me and to see how I was, and they said, she's not asleep. You can come and see her at 1 o'clock, because I knit at night. See?
Yeah.
But I didn't have my knitting there. So they came to see me, and while she told me I didn't get dismissed the next day, but the day after, and she told me that she thought they could shop for some meals that are already cooked. All you have to do is warm them.
Yeah.
And they have those in the freezer cases. So she and her son started shopping for me. And also Commie Joe started to call me. And one day I needed bread. And then I have a good neighbor across the street, Mrs. Harvey, who rented my home 8 years when I lived on Cedar Street. And Mr. Laban Hendricks was my husband, and I lived in his home. And she is across the street, and she calls me and tells me where she's going, post office or this or that. And if I have any business, she does it for me. But this week, on Monday, I decided I have to get back to driving. So I went to the drive-through drugstore. I went to the drive-through bank. I went to the Captain D's drive-through. And
didn't have to get out of the car for any of it,
didn't have to get out of the car at all. And I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
And I had the car worked on and brakes tested, everything done about it.
Well, speaking of cars, do you remember when you saw your first car?
Oh, I do. It was in Rochester over in Butler County in 1918. After the war, the livery stable man, they had livery stables with teams and buggies. They rented to people that wanted to go out visiting in the county. And he got the first Ford Model T, and my father took us over there to see it. And my dad was interested in the cars, but he never did buy one. And so that same year, over in Drakesboro, they had an airplane come on 4th of July. So he hired the Ford to take us over to see the airplane. So we rode in the first, that's the first ride I had in a car, 1918 when I was 9.
Well, what did you think about the airplane?
Well, I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it would last.
Who knew? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have you flown in a plane?
Yes. When we moved to Indiana in the 20s, they had a 26. My brother was a little younger than I, and he had worked and picked up jobs and had a little money, and he wanted to fly on the plane. They had a place in Gary, Indiana, that would fly you out over Lake Michigan.
Oh, wow.
And $10 it cost. And he invited me to be his guest. And I thought that was really nice, my young brother. And so my mother and father went with us, and he had a car. He was old enough to have a car. So we all rode out to we lived in another section of the county, and we rode out there to get on the plane. And that was my first, and it was cold. It was a hot day in summer, but when you get over the water, it was cold.
Right.
And I think that is the only time I've ridden a plane.
Well, maybe not to last. I mean, who knows?
Maybe not.
We were talking about cooking. What kind of stove did you learn to cook on?
A gas stove. My mother was, but I helped my mother when she cooked with coal.
Okay.
Because when I was a child, I wanted to help her, and I stood in the chair and stirred cookies or cake and helped her baking. And my sister didn't like that housework at all. She liked to pitch balls, play ball with the boys, because we had a cousin living there that was 12 years old, and he was pretty good. And of course, my brother was a little younger quite a bit younger than I, and he wanted to learn about ball games, pitching balls. So that's what they did after school. But my mother let me help her cook.
I see.
And I really enjoyed that.
Well, now, when you were a child, was your house heated with coal, or how did it keep the house warm?
Well, in Butler County, we used to have coal. They mined a lot of coal there. And in fact, I think they worked off all the hills. And we had coal, and we moved on to Drakesboro and had coal. But when we moved up north, the oil refineries would sell you coke. and Coke was about $5 compared to $10 for coal. And it was warmer and heated the house better. But when we built a new house in I think that was 83, we had bought the first property my husband, Henry Larson, and I had was acreage. And we had Coke there because he worked at an oil refinery and could get it for the $5. We could have the whole winter for about $50 to heat the house. But when we when we built our last house, he was retired, so we didn't get that coal anymore. We had gas put in. And when we came to Franklin to buy a home, we were hoping to get gas, and we did. Our house is heated with the gas and blows the air around. But the one that we had in Indiana they warmed the water and it went around to warm.
Did you, when you were growing up, did you live out in the country or in town or?
No, we lived in town.
I see.
Because when we lived in Simpson County, we left here in 1914 when I was 5. We had lived here, and that was out on the Mary Adams Road.
Okay, so you were out in the country then.
Out in the country. My father was born here, George McElwain, and they had the farm. His ancestors came from Virginia before the Civil War, and they had a farm on Sinkin Creek. It's west of 31W.
Right.
And there's some of the family still there. My father had a sister who married a Van Treese, and her grandson, Guy Van Treese, owns the farm now.
I see.
So it's still in the farm. Yeah, the farm has been in the family since the beginning. But when we moved to Rochester, when my sister was ready to go to school, my mother wanted to live in town, so she wouldn't have to walk to town to school because they didn't have the buses then.
Right.
So we had a house in town with an orchard and a big garden, but my father rode up the river road and tended land along the river that didn't have no buildings on it.
I see.
So we could live in town.
I see.
And that was real handy.
I believe at one time in Franklin there was a McElwain-McGuire Bank.
Yes.
Is that your family?
It was my grandfather's cousin.
Okay.
And the McElwains came from Virginia. And there's a lot of people that came to Russellville. They have more McElwains there than they have here. In fact, they don't have any McElwains here now.
Not anymore, I don't think. Yeah. We talked about cars and we talked about airplanes. What about trains? Did people ride trains when you were growing up?
Oh, yeah. The trains are great. After, when we lived here, I have a picture of a group. We went, it was before I was 5, when I was 2. They went to, my mother's sister had come home from Florida, and she had children, and my grandmother wanted everybody to come, be together. We have that group picture. But my dad took us to South Union to get on a train, and then we rode to Russellville, and Russellville we got on a train to Browder, and then my mother's brother met us there, and that was my first train ride. But when we lived in Drakesboro, they had trains 4 times. You could go in the morning, or you could go and come home in the afternoon from Central City or Owensboro. So that's when our horizon widened, when we got to going on the train. And the trains were not so expensive. If we had 50 cents, we could ride the train when we were young. The younger high school girls used to go to Central City on Sunday afternoon. And we could, if we had 50 cents, we could ride the train there and drink a Coke and come back on the next train back. That was our Sunday afternoon entertainment.
Well, was there a picture show in Central City that you could go to?
They had they had them there, but we didn't go to the picture
go.
show there because we had the picture show in Drakesboro.
Oh, okay.
And my closest girlfriend's father owned the picture show and a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And we had that, you pumped the thing to make music, and you had to do it fast when their westerns were on. And his daughter had the job of pumping with me helping her.
Uh-huh.
So every Saturday night, that was our job, pumping the piano.
Well, could you watch the picture, or were you too busy pumping to watch the show?
Well, we had to watch the picture to know when to make it fast.
To go fast. Okay, yeah.
So that was quite an experience.
So this is back in the silent movie days before they had talkies.
But the first talkie that I ever saw was the year we moved to Indiana in 26.
Uh-huh.
And we went to, they had, I don't remember, I think it was Al Jolson or someone.
Yeah, he was in one of the first ones, yeah.
And so I went
Did he
to
sing
saw
about Mammy?
my first show there.
Uh-huh. What about your first radio? Do you remember when you got your first radio?
Yes, we were in Drakesboro, and we're still in, they had just started to broadcast from the Grand Ole Opry,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a senior citizen couple across the street from us, and they bought a radio,
Mm-hmm.
and they invited my dad to bring his children over that night to hear the barn dance.
Mm-hmm.
So one time, it's been in the last 5 years, they had, I was listening to a Nashville station, they had people guessing when they had or telling about when they saw their first, or heard their first program. And it was the same one that we heard,
Mm-hmm.
the Grand Ole Opry. But when we went, we had the movies, of course, in Drakesboro, but when we got to Indiana, they had more.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I wanted to go to the movie, and my mother didn't want to go, and nobody wanted to go with me, my dad would go with me.
Mm-hmm.
He was my escort.
Who was your favorite movie star?
I don't know. I think Al Jolson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, you can still, some of the time, see some of his movies. They'll show them on TV late at night. What about television? I guess that would have been after World War II. Did your family buy a television pretty soon after it came out?
The television came out. I worked at the Standard Oil, I said, during the war.
Right.
And I worked overtime, 12-hour days. Then after the war, when the war ended, they asked me to stay on for a while. He said, can you stay a while?
Mm-hmm.
I said, I can stay till I'm 65. And I was the early 30s. He said, well, we have to take this up with the union to even get you to stay a while.
Uh-huh.
So I stayed 6 months till the man came back that I was taking his place. And so then that next year after the war, I guess it was over in 35. 45. 45 was over. Mm-hmm. The next year, the televisions came out, and my husband was a real fan of the White Sox. They were a Chicago team.
Right.
And when the Yankees came, we always went to see that. That's when I got acquainted with baseball, was with him. Mm-hmm. And then when the TVs came out, it was time for the fall roundup with the baseball, and they were going to broadcast on television that year. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, why don't you stop tomorrow and buy a television? And they had a shop where we lived, and it cost around $100. And he says, can we afford it? I said, yeah, we can. And so he stopped and ordered the television, and it came the next day, and they put that thing up on the chimney.
Yeah, the antenna.
And the neighbors all knew we had a TV, and they all came over that night. And it was a night game, too. So he enjoyed that, and I got really enthused about baseball, too.
Did the White Sox win that game?
Oh, yeah, they won. But it was...
So you like the White Sox better than the Cubs then?
Oh, yeah. But we always liked to see the White Sox and the Yankees play.
Mm-hmm.
And Babe Ruth, we saw him.
Really? Oh, okay.
And all of the old greats, we would go to see the games.
Okay.
And that was a nice thing. But we had lived there quite a while. But for our honeymoon, when we married, that was back in the 30s, we went to into Michigan. And I didn't know there was going to be a ferry there to get on the Upper Peninsula,
Right.
and I get scared on water.
Yeah.
But it took us a while to get across there,
Yeah,
and
that
I wouldn't
did, yeah.
stay in the car. But when we came home from there, we went to down through Wisconsin, so we didn't have to go on the ferry.
Well, now, wait a minute. You said you got in the airplane, and you flew over Lake Michigan in the airplane, and that didn't bother you.
No, that didn't
But
bother
you got on the ferry.
It's the water.
And, well, you were over the water on Lake Michigan, but you were closer to it on the ferry,
Yeah,
I guess.
that's it. I was on the boat. The boat was moving.
Right.
But when I was a
understand.
child and we lived in Rochester,
Uh-huh.
my dad used to take us across the river for a little ride in the river, and I always got sick in my ears and dizzy like.
I see. Kind of
And he
emotional.
always had me seated real close to him. He'd pick me up and walk off of the boat and walk me around a little bit to get started
Get you
again.
over it. Yeah, yeah. Well, how long were you in Indiana, and then did you move back to Kentucky?
Yes, we moved back we went there in 26 and moved back after my husband had 2 or 3 heart attacks and had been quite ill, and he retired a little early. And we came back in 61 and bought the house in Granger Village. And Mr. Mayhew was showing the house. He would be our neighbor. And but a contractor in Glasgow had the house for sale, and it had been for sale for quite a while. So we bought the house, and it was ready to move into, except it had a carport, and we did ask him to reduce the price on the house because we wanted to make a garage out of the carport. So that's what we did. And so I've been there since 61.
Well, do you regret not working in the refinery till you turned 65 years old?
No, because
Well, you told him you could stay.
he was, they wouldn't keep you in the refinery. You couldn't stay there. So I stayed home then quite a few years. But after when we moved to Franklin, my mother was with us because my father had died in 1940, and she'd been with us since then. And my husband died before she did.
I see.
And then after I was alone, Miss Proctor called me at the school in Prospect Hill.
Charlene Proctor?
Yes, and she said she heard that my mother was such a good cook. My cousin Vantries was secretary there, and she recommended me to cook out there.
Oh, okay.
Because they needed someone just to fill in for 3 weeks. But after the 3 weeks, I got the job for 8 years.
Oh, okay.
So that was my last work, is Prospect Hill. And I really enjoyed that.
Well, now, what years were you cooking at Prospect Hill? In the 60s? Is that right? Okay.
Well, I retired in the 70s.
Well, I went to Prospect Hill School,
Oh,
but
did-
I was there a little before the time that you were there.
Oh.
But I knew Miss Proctor. I know who you were talking about.
Did you
Yeah.
know Janice Vantries?
I don't
the
remember
secretary?
her. Don't remember her. Miss Proctor was a principal, and Miss Jepson was my teacher. Did you ever know Miss Jepson? I think she
Well, I
taught
heard
there.
her, but I didn't know her. She wasn't there when I was there.
Well, tell me, how are you and Commie Joe related?
Well, my husband was a second marriage. After my husband died here, I married Laban Hendricks. He lived on West Cedar Street.
Okay.
And I had met the Joe Hendricks and Gladys. I had met Gladys one time at a meeting, a Business and Professional Women's Club. But my Mrs. Turner, that name was familiar because her husband was Russ Turner, and my father was George, and they went to school together on the Turner Town Road out in that area. And they were good friends, so I was anxious to meet that family because I had heard of the Turners through my father.
Now, is that the Turner of Brownlee and Turner Funeral Home?
Yes.
Okay.
Russ Turner.
Right.
Yeah, Russ Turner. And so, but he was deceased when we moved here. But I got acquainted with Mrs. Turner, and she, I had the funerals there, my mother and my husband. And I just met Commie Jo at the funeral home one day. She was still in high school.
Right. And your father, Tommy Joe, was associated with the business as well, right?
He bought Mr. Brownlee out.
I see.
So that's how, but they didn't change the name.
They kept the name, right. And if memory serves, that was on North Main, 31W.
It's right where
where
Integra
Bank. Yeah, and operated there for many years.
And I,
closed in
just
66.
being new, we had only been here 2 years when my husband died. And I felt really at home. They made me feel that I was at home here at this funeral home, I think because I had known the Turner name before. But of course we did bring my father, my mother wanted to bring my father back here for funeral. And we came back for that in 1940, but we didn't come back to live until the 60s.
I remember going to that funeral home as a child, and down in the basement, the Coke machine was really cheap. It was. Do you remember how much it was?
Well, the first one was a nickel.
I was thinking it was a nickel. And I was kind of, that can't be right, but it was, wasn't it? It was a nickel. Had the little door you raised up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now, Commie Jo is holding something else here that you made, so why don't you tell us about this?
Well, this is a hand-knit Afghan. It has...
okay, let's raise it up a little where
all
we can see it. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to hold part of it.
It
I'll let Commie Jo hold part of it.
cable stitches,
Right.
and these blocks are like a little seed stitch. And it's made from wool, I think. It was made from wool at that time, but now everything is polyester. And
when I finally graduated from college, this is what she got.
And this was hand knit for her, but I made one for her mother to make for a bedspread in the bicentennial year, which is similar to this, but in blocks. But it's larger because it hangs all the way down to the floor. And at that time, in the bicentennial year, we were visiting over there, and I was telling Gladys how I had done the Afghan, and she said, well, it needs a date on it, because everything that's handmade is supposed to have a date on it.
Okay.
That's what they said about bicentennial, so I put the date on it.
Wow.
So
and this was the 1976 bicentennial of our...
Right. Now, this looks awfully warm. Tell me about this.
Oh, this is sweater. Commie Jo wanted a certain type of yarn, I think, and patterns. She didn't find the yarn, so she bought this in Scotland.
No, this one, I bought it in Ireland, and I bought the pattern, and then brought the yarn and the pattern back.
Yeah, she bought the pattern, bought the wool in Ireland on a trip, and the pattern is this is real complicated. See,
I looked at it,
Be sure you get the right way. So I knit the sweater for her, because she had been so nice to me about a lot of
You don't intend for her to get cold, do you? Between the sweaters and the Afghans, she ought to stay warm.
And then this is wool. Now,
and you can still feel that it's untreated. It's still got the lanolin in it.
Ah, okay.
But the stockings are polyester yarn.
And the pattern that I got was for pullover, but I didn't want a pullover. So she adjusted it.
Just adapted. Great, yeah.
So.
Well, that is very nice, Miss Hendricks. You do awfully nice work.
Well, thank you.
It's very impressive.
And I really love it, and I like to do it, and I hope I can just keep right on.
Well, I hope you can, too, for many more years to come. And I tell you what, let's make a date, and after you have your 100th birthday party, come in and we'll do another interview.
Oh, that'd be fine.
All right.
I think I'll still be talking then.
Well, I hope so. Well, we're going to have to wind up for today, but it's been very enjoyable. I've been glad to have you and Commie Joe as my guests.
Well, thank you.
And glad we've got the opportunity to put you on TV.
Well, thank you.
So I don't know if you get cable or not, but we'll try to. All right. Well, you can sit at home with under some of your warm Afghans and watch yourself on television.
Well, I did have give recipes on the radio with Miss Sullivan.
Did. When she had her radio
Here
program.
in
I
Franklin.
remember that. Okay.
I have broadcast in Franklin, but it's on the radio.
Oh, well, you just...
You have to add TV to it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, my thanks to both of you. My guests have been Nell Hendricks and Commie Joe Hall, and we want to thank especially Mrs. Hendricks for coming in, and it's good to see her so spry and so well at 94, and I'm looking forward to our next interview on her 100th birthday. Between then, I hope we have several other programs that you'll find enjoyable, so please stay tuned.
Thank you.
You're welcome.